What's up, Heather?
What's up, B?
We want to welcome everyone back to Tortured Bourbon.
We don't know why you're back here, but thanks.
Thanks. Where the whiskey's smooth, but the commentary, not so much. But tonight we have a new episode series premiere.
That's right. We are diving into our very first subscriber request episode. Huge shout out to Mike for this one. He asked us to compare Angel's Envy, Maker's Mark 46, and Jim Beam Black. So Mike, this one's for you.
We appreciate all of our viewers, and the best way we can say thank you is by trying to fulfill your requests. Now what we just need you to do is make more requests. So click in the comments or send Heather an email. She wants to talk to you.
And if you're new to Casa de Rooster, that's the name of our studio.
Roosters.
Why don't you hit that like and subscribe button? We do new full-length videos 3 times a week because apparently sleep is overrated. You don't want to miss any of those.
No, you don't. Look, I'm now required by Heather to remind all of you that we exist on social media. I probably shouldn't be as sarcastic about that, seeing as this show is basically the culmination of
It really is.
social media.
And this very first viewer request came via Instagram. So I'm just saying.
But look, I can't help myself. If you feel the need, find us on the artist formerly known as Twitter.
That
Insta.
joke will never get old.
It won't. And Facebook. We're going to make Heather happy.
Was that really necessary?
Yep. Now back to our tasting.
You're the worst.
Thanks.
What are we going to do today?
Well, we're going to taste bourbon.
Oh, shocker.
Yep. We're going to taste each one of these. We're going to give the lowdown on the distilleries, the mash bills, the tasting notes. And then, yes, we'll taste them. We're going to rank them. And then Heather will just blow us away with her millennial palate takes.
I'm sorry my taste buds aren't stuck back in the 90s, like your playlists. Let's see if you can keep up. Are you ready?
Let's talk about your playlist algorithm and how it's been altered due to my help.
Help or
Intrusion?
intrusion taking over? First up, we have Angel's Envy. So this one is kind of a darling of the bourbon world.
Yeah.
A lot of people that don't describe themselves as huge bourbon people really like Angel's Envy. It's pretty inoffensive. It's smooth. It's finished in port wine barrels, and it really does have some serious flavor. The distillery is in Louisville, Kentucky.
Shocker.
So surprised. It was founded by Lincoln Henderson, who is a legend from Brown-Forman, who also makes Old Forester. We've talked about them a time or two. Now it's owned by Bacardi. Yep, that Bacardi. College Bacardi.
Bacardi, the Bacardi family is not hurting.
They're not poor.
They're not hurting. Their
This is but a drop in the bucket.
Their portfolio is...
It's insane.
It's
nuts.
Now, Angel's Envy has a mash bill of 72% corn, 18% rye, and 10% malted barley. So it's got a little spice, it's a little sweet, but the port finish is supposed to give it nice, rich depth and kind of round that out. Kind of like their very intentional rounded edges of their bottle.
Yes, they really lean into the angel's wings kind of motif.
Absolutely, they do.
So when you smell Angel's Envy, and let's go ahead and do that, B, while we're talking about it. You're going to be hit with a mix of sweet caramel and toasted nuts. There's also going to be a subtle wine-like fruitiness, which is obviously owing to the secondary aging in the port barrels. It's really going to give it a little bit of a unique profile. So I definitely get a little fruitiness there.
I get the toasted nuts, but I struggle more with the fruitiness.
Mm-hmm. I wonder why. That's interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean,
You do eat a lot of peanuts.
I eat a lot of nuts.
And I do think port has a very signature smell too.
Oh yeah.
And you're getting that little bit of that here.
It has nice legs.
It does.
For
it does.
an entry level.
Right.
What your baseline, I think it has nice legs. I think it has a pretty look.
It does.
And the smell is very pleasant.
It is very pleasant. What are we supposed to taste?
You can expect vanilla, maple syrup, and a touch of dark fruit.
Love that flavor profile. I love anything that has like a fruity and a maple syrup, and usually that's going to bring a good mouthfeel too.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. So you ready to taste?
Yep.
So I definitely do get the maple, for sure. Almost more than the vanilla. So this one comes in for a fifth at about $50, right?
Yeah, we got the half a fifth.
We got the baby bottle.
We got the baby bottle.
We've had to admit a little defeat on the show and recognize that the smaller bottle is okay sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it is. Other times, not so much.
Right.
And in all fairness, for Valentine's Day, my wife bought us bought me,
you.
that we will use on the show. She bought the full bottle of the triple oak. So
that was a lovely Valentine's
yes,
gift.
So.
Great choice.
The port finish is there for me.
For sure.
I feel the port finish going down.
You don't adore port.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
And to be clear, I really like the triple oak. It's fantastic.
But but in that one, I think with it being triple oaked, that oak is outweighing, which is kind of what you need.
Yeah. And so sometimes the cast finishes for me are not what they are for other people, but they're extremely popular. So that's
absolutely.
just my taste profile. Now, I think it has a good base. I mean, I think this overwhelms the caramel a little bit. But we know from doing this show together, I'm looking for caramel bombs and spice.
You when there's not any spice profile, it's never going to be your favorite.
But that's not who they're going for. And
no. And it, like you said, it's pleasant. If you like things in the Port Madeira family, where you like that little bit of fortified wine fruitiness, which is a darker fruit taste profile.
Absolutely.
This is not giving any citrus or anything like that.
There's not a crispness to it.
No, there's no crispness. There's not brightness.
Yeah.
But if you want a solid dark fruit, like plum flavor profile, you'll really like this.
I actually prefer the nose to the taste.
It does not surprise me at all, actually. And they differ a little bit.
Yes.
So what would we rank this one? Oh, sorry. Cut you off.
Well, no. I think it's fine to cut me off. I think we should probably do it more often.
You heard that. I have permission.
So, in reference to rating, for me, it's going to be bless your heart.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
However, I acknowledge that is solely based on taste profile.
Your preferred.
Yeah, it's not based on
quality.
No. This is. I'm not going to reach for it. All right? That's okay. But I would actually recommend this to someone with a different palate.
Right, and that's...
So for me, it's a bless your heart. For the show, for people who want that palate, it could be a dog will hunt. For some people, I bet that could even be a hush your mouth.
Yeah.
I think that's a game changer for some people. But it's a different style.
Well, and I'm glad you said that, and that kind of ties back to what I was talking about earlier, is I have now learned, because when people hear that you do a bourbon YouTube channel, they always ask you for recommendations. I have completely stopped immediately giving them my favorites, because that doesn't matter. If that's not their preferred profile, they're not going to like it. So the first thing I say now is, what do you like in a bourbon? You know, what flavor? Do you like things sweet? Do you like a higher proof, a lower proof? Do you like rye at all? Okay, most people are like, no, I don't. So you know how to steer clear of an entire category.
And really that might swing you right into weeded bourbons.
Absolutely. And a lot of people didn't even, that I've had these conversations with, didn't really even know that there was a category specifically of weeded bourbons, and that would mean it was going to have a sweeter finish. And ever since I started doing that, I feel like my recommendations have been a little more successful.
Sure.
So I'm still learning that. For me, this is a dog will hunt. Because I do, I'm more of a wine drinker. Not than bourbon, but maybe a little bit more than you, although you like a good red.
I do.
But it's not a hush your mouth for me, like you said. It's missing a few of the flavor profile characteristics that put it over that edge for me. But I think it's a solid choice. And like you said, it's a great entry bourbon.
So next up, we've got Maker's Mark 46. Now, we will be doing an episode at some point on Makers. And we have several Makers to look at. And I'm really excited about that. But for today, Maker's Mark 46. Now, Maker's is from Loretto, Kentucky. And it has one of the most iconic distilleries in bourbon country. The campus, from what we have seen, and we've seen it online and we've seen it in documentaries, it's absolutely gorgeous. And of course, they have the distinctive red wax seals everywhere. And yes, they hand dip every bottle by hand. And if you visit the distillery, you can dip your own bottle. So that's a really big deal. It's a thing.
It's definitely a thing, yeah.
It was started by the Samuels family. And while it's now owned by Beam Suntory, it still they claim it still feels like a family-run place. And it has a very passionate fan base.
That's true.
Maker's Mark actually did a lot of work on what they called their maker ambassadors. Mm-hmm. And they have ambassador days. I mean, they have done a really good job of grabbing
and marketing
and holding a group of people. Mm-hmm. Their distillery is also considered a National Historic Landmark, which I think is pretty cool. So it's a lot of bourbon history there.
So, and B, I think it's kind of interesting now that a lot of times you find people falling into either the Wild Turkey or the Maker's Mark for their base level kind of go-to. And if they're
one is rice, one is rye and cinnamon,
right,
and the other one's wheated.
Exactly, so, it makes total sense.
And they're both. I mean, they're solid.
They are.
I mean, they are solid.
They are. So on that note, like B said, Maker's is known for their wheated bourbon. 46 was actually their first big innovation in decades. They add seared French oak staves, which French oak is really having a moment in the bourbon scene. And that amps up the flavor, giving it a little bit of a bolder profile than the original Maker's Mark.
You see some of the double oaks that are done. They'll put it in. They'll have some of it put into a French oak.
Yeah, and our first real exposure to it knowingly was when we did the 2XO and we compared the American oak finish versus the French oak finish, and there was a difference.
Absolutely. The mash bill's wheat heavy, 70% corn, 16% red winter wheat, and 14% malted barley. Now that's supposed to give it a smooth, soft vibe. And those oak staves are supposed to bring out some bold caramel. So I hope so with baking spice notes.
All right, B, this one might be for you.
Yeah.
On the nose, you're going to get some rich toffee, some roasted oak. Yeah, let's give it a smell. And a hint of dark chocolate with a little bit of that signature vanilla. It's like stepping into a cozy bakery, which I love.
So I immediately got...
Vanilla?
I was going to tell you I got the roasted oak and dark chocolate.
Really?
But in my defense, I've been editing our episodes, and you did this whole thing around me and dark chocolate.
I did.
So I've maybe it's...
seared into your brain.
Yeah, it's there. But no, the caramel's there.
So on first sniff, the vanilla was almost overwhelming. But on second, I do get, like you said, that hint of the dark chocolate lingering with the vanilla.
Their description of cozy bakery I can go with. I get vanilla.
It smells a little bit like a pain au chocolat. Like...
What?
Chocolate croissant. It's the croissants that have the dark chocolate in the middle.
I believe you.
They're amazing.
We call them chocolate croissants.
You lived in Europe. I did not. I studied abroad once.
That's fair. I studied broads too. All right, so now that we're about to taste, we should think cinnamon, vanilla, and a little nutmeg. They say fall in a glass.
Oh, so like a pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah, if a pumpkin spice latte could kick your butt. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's bourbon. So
the MSRP for Maker's Mark 46 should be around $40 for a fifth.
Yeah, so
it's pretty affordable.
For what we're used to paying now, it fits in that.
Yeah, remember when that was like
yeah,
40 to 50? We were like, oh, we're not sure.
Yeah, but now, I mean,
yeah, I kind of hate it a little.
I hate it a lot.
All right, let's give it a taste. The taste hits way harder than the smell. The smell is way more mellow.
Agreed.
Than the flavor. I don't mean that as a bad thing.
No, but you're right.
Yeah.
The smell is warm and inviting. This still gives you a little punch.
I definitely do get the cinnamon. So like the spice.
All right, so am I just off today?
It's a little bland.
All right, so you don't get the caramel bomb that they say you're going to get.
I don't. And I don't even get strong vanilla like I did on the smell.
The nose is as inviting of a bourbon that I've ever smelled.
Mm-hmm. But the taste doesn't quite hit where the smell does.
No.
I kind of just get at the outset of the taste, I get a little bit of a punch. And then it just kind of... But it's not a flavor punch. It's more like a heat punch. And then it kind of just... I don't know. Maybe I need to chew it more. I do get a little bit of the fall spice profile.
Okay, I can go with that.
But not super strong. But what lingers is a little bit of that fall spice, like a nutmeg.
So as long as we let it linger?
You have to.
You have to?
You have to.
You have to let it linger.
Eventually the cranberries are going to come after us for some royalties or something. All right, B, I'm gonna take a shot here and say that you're a little underwhelmed by this.
I am.
Compared to what you thought it was going to be.
I am.
Yeah.
And I've been looking forward to this one.
I know you
and,
have.
and that's probably not helping, right?
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you that the first 3 sips, or whatever I did, versus now, the aftertaste is actually better.
It's a little more cinnamony.
Yeah. And on the back of my teeth, I'm enjoying that a little bit. But it's not my favorite.
To me, it almost has, like, you know when you chew a piece of Big Red? That's like the aftertaste, is after you've, like, chewed a piece of Big Red and spit it out. That's kind of the aftertaste for me. So
I love Big Red.
I did too. But remember, nothing is as good, like, this doesn't have the intensity of the chewing part. It just has the kind of flavor profile of that after you've already chewed it and, like, spit it out and it's kind of done.
I wonder, like Big Red was a big deal around here. Mm-hmm. I wonder if, and you chew it as kids, obviously. I wonder if that's, was Big Red big in, like, the Northeast? Was it big? I mean, I don't know. Was that
it
like
was huge, but every uncle, grandpa, everybody at church on Sunday would pull out every time you saw them. They'd pull out they almost did it like cigarettes. They pop like real smooth, like popping one out and let you take it. And I remember I'd always be sad when my uncle Hayden would be out of Big Red and he'd have juicy fruit instead.
It's not the same.
It's not the same, and the flavor's gone in 3 seconds. So I always prefer the Big Red. Anyway, that was a march down memory lane.
Yeah, it was. But I wonder if that helps influence your taste buds at a very early age.
Yeah.
All right. So cinnamon punch was big when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody had liked Red Hots too.
Oh, yeah. And atomic firebombs. Oh, I love me some atomic firebombs.
So the longer we've sat here and tasted it, I like it better than first taste. But I think underwhelmed is the word that we would both use probably.
For what it is, it's a dog will hunt. Maybe. It's close to not being a dog will hunt.
Yeah.
I'm struggling a little bit with this.
And we do have to remember, sometimes you read flavor profiles and it builds it up for you because you think, ooh, that's going to be a hit for me. And it doesn't necessarily hit where you thought it was going to.
Kind of like, a first date sometimes. It just doesn't quite.
It doesn't quite go where you thought it was going to.
Yeah.
This is like you said, this is a borderline, bless your heart, dog will hunt. This could be really nice in a fall or winter cocktail.
Okay.
Because it's going to give some background of those kind of fall spice flavors.
That's what we're going to use it for.
So that's what we'll do.
That's what we're going to use it for.
Yeah, we'll throw it in some spiked hot apple cider.
Well, being we're supposed to get Snowmageddon here in the next couple days, maybe
Perfect.
we'll make a dent in this when we're sitting at home with the kids. And just re-acknowledge, our palate does not, it's our palate.
Right.
It's not the global palate.
There are very few things that we have pronounced universally terrible that we haven't said, oh, this just isn't ours. And those are Kentucky Gentlemen and Mellowcore.
Well, this is our taste. Mm-hmm. And if you watch enough of our shows, that's the goal. You'll say, okay, so this is their taste. This is my taste. So I might like that or I might not like that. That's really what we're going after.
Everything we described about it right then that made it a borderline...
somebody else
may say that nails everything for me.
And obviously, because they sell a few of these.
A lot. Yeah. 1 or 2.
I mean, they sell
Yeah, they sell the heck out of it.
This isn't like some obscure brand.
No. And it's not bad. It just it didn't hit.
It just doesn't hit what I
for
want.
us. Yeah. So last we have another kind of OG of the bourbon world. Not the OG.
We might have the OG.
Jim Beam, this time the black iteration.
With the baby bottle.
It got a little regular Jim Beam got a little upgrade here. So it's aged longer than regular Beam. So it used to be 6 to 8, but now they're saying at least 7, correct?
That's the change.
So obviously more aging gives it a deeper, richer flavor. So it still is from the legendary Jim Beam distillery in Clearmont, Kentucky. And yes, it's still under the Beam Suntory umbrella.
Jim Beam's one of the most iconic names in bourbon history.
We've mentioned it
that really,
a few times.
If you're watching this show and that's news to you, welcome to the United States. It's founded in 1795, and it's been family run for 7 generations, and it did survive Prohibition, but here it is. You know what they sold? Medicinal whiskey. Today, it's the best-selling bourbon brand in the world, and Jim Beam Black they say, is a testament to craftsmanship, a little more refined and a little more mature. So my first introduction to Jim Beam was Dad playing a Hank Williams.
I'm gonna guess it wasn't mature and refined.
Well, no, it was actually Hank Williams Jr. song about family tradition.
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
So Dad used to sing it to me. Yeah,
that's a great.
The mash bill is 77% corn, 13% rye, and 10% malted barley, and it's supposed to have a kick.
So on the nose, we're supposed to get some warm vanilla, toasted oak, and a slight nuttiness and a little bit of spice.
The nuttiness is absolutely there.
Yeah, it's more pronounced.
Yes, and that is a hallmark of Beam products. Now, I not Basil Hayden to me.
No.
That's a fork in the road.
But Basil Hayden's meant to be.
Yeah, but when you talk about Booker's, Baker's, and Jim Beam, there's a nuttiness.
Yeah, and we're gonna have a Baker's episode.
Yeah, I am into Baker's
B is
now.
in peanut heaven in that episode.
So,
but yeah, it's pleasant.
Yeah.
Not overly sweet, just pleasant.
I'm gonna make one comment about the legs. The legs on the Angel's Envy have been the best.
They were the prettiest legs. Yeah.
This is a close second. But the legs on that were, and not that affects taste. It's just it's something we're supposed to notice.
It's something B likes to notice.
We're supposed to notice the legs.
B just likes legs. So what are we supposed to taste here?
I mean, who doesn't? I don't like legs. Who doesn't like legs?
I'm appreciative for my legs.
We're supposed to get caramel, oak, and a little bit of spice. This is kind of like a Foo Fighters soundtrack.
So like dad music.
No, it's supposed to hit all the right notes in a very grunge style.
Okay. We'll go with that.
Make fun of me later.
Oh, I will. Don't worry about it. So MSRP for this is around $25 for a fifth. As you can see, we got the baby bottle, but it's very affordable.
So here's my hot take. Get
ready. Buckle up.
$50 and $50 a bottle and $25 a bottle.
Go get this.
Go get that.
100%. Completely. I get the peanut. A little bit.
It's not my favorite by any means.
No.
But this. Yeah, that's bourbon.
That's bourbon.
But
it's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's like Taylor Swift. She's fine.
Yeah, she's just fine.
It's fine.
This one has the best flavor on the back end to me of the 3 we've tasted. It's very classic bourbon. It is a step up though from regular Jim Beam, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it kicked Jack Daniel's butt.
It does, in my opinion.
But we like a kick.
We do.
All right, and Jack Daniel's has their process, Lincoln County, to mellow it, right? Mm-hmm. So either you're, we're talking about camps of bourbon tasting, right? Mm-hmm. I know, it's Tennessee whiskey, whatever.
Be so over it. If you would like to see our exhaustive
2-hour
take on all of that, please go see our first full-length episode.
We prefer Uncle Nearest because it has
some gravitas.
Yes. It has some oomph, right?
Also, it came first, so...
Well, okay. Uncle Nearest came first.
We gotta give
Uncle
credit.
Nearest brand.
We gotta give credit where credit is due.
I think yeah.
If you want to see where we gave credit for 2 hours,
we gave credit.
And again, and over and over.
So, yeah.
So where would you rate this?
It's supposed to be a doggle hunt. It is a doggle hunt.
It's a doggle hunt.
They've managed to take a product that is bless your heart, that people mix, they leave it in the barrel for a couple more years, and they make that, and they charge a reasonable price, and it tastes good.
It does taste good.
Which is why I don't compare Jim Beam to things like Budweiser. because we could do whatever you want to Budweiser.
It's going to taste like Budweiser.
It tastes like Budweiser.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Unfortunately.
Well, not for people who like Budweiser, but it's not but when you walk in and eat, well, there's the Jim Beam. Well, I'm immediately going over there. It's kind of like, well, there's the Wild Turkey. Well, I'm immediately going. No. They're not the same. It's not the same. Mm-hmm. Probably and this is for another episode, and I'd like to get an expert in here to talk to us. So Jim Beam is owned by Suntory the way Campari owns Wild Turkey.
Mm-hmm. Very hands-off.
I'm interested to know which one's more hands-off.
Well, I know, and seriously, they're really good episodes. Go check out our Wild Turkey episodes. They're some of my favorites. But we talk about in there how Campari, and I bet you it was part of the purchase deal, that they let the Russells be the Russells. And they are very hands-off in how Wild Turkey operates on a day-to-day basis. And their product didn't change. So I wonder if Suntory is quite as hands-off. And I guarantee you that was in the sale contract.
Oh, I'm sure.
With Wild Turkey and Campari.
I'm just curious because in terms of royal family, the Beam started Jim Beam. They also start Heaven Hill.
Mm-hmm. Which is...
I mean, these are...
It's bourbon royalty.
Yeah, the fingers of the Beam family in bourbon run through lots of distilleries.
Yeah, well, think about... I feel like every other episode we do some offshoot of the Beam family.
So this
has
is their
something
thing,
to do with it.
And that's what's, we knock the lore, but we always talk about the lore. But that's true, right? I mean, this was a family tradition. Hank Williams Jr. Although I kind of prefer the dad. I really actually prefer Hank Williams. The
lore is true here.
Yeah, the lore's true. I'm just curious as to when bourbon was struggling, Wild Turkey dealt with it by doubling down. Mm-hmm. I'm interested to go learn how Jim Beam dealt with it.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to do a Jim Beam deep dive.
Absolutely.
So
are we both saying dog hunt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll go with
that. Well,
that.
Mike, there you have it. We did this for you. Our take on Angel's Envy, Maker's Mark 46, and Jim Beam Black. I think to summarize what we're saying is that Angel's Envy is less of my taste profile, but it's more of your taste profile.
And it's a solid pour.
Yep. We're saying that the Maker's Mark left us a little underwhelmed, and we were...
I think we had high expectations, and we didn't quite get there.
We had high... It just didn't...
Didn't quite hit there.
Probably not a second date for it.
No.
It would have to...
So. But we're going to put it in a... We're gonna bring it to the party.
That's right.
Because someone else... It's a nice...
Another one of my friends might want to date it.
It's a nice lady
another one of your
friends might want to date it. Yeah.
Now, if it had given me a solid kiss at the end, then maybe a second date. And then we're saying that for the price,
Go grab it.
Jim Beam 7-year, which is interesting because we wanted to buy the little bottle because we weren't sure. And look at that.
All right. Until next time, y'all.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. And cheers, y'all. Bump, bump, bump. Digga, digga, digga.
All right. Ready?